you won't start to lead yourself, let alone even start to consider leading others, unless you consider these 4 things. Now, what I'm about to share will allow you to not only influence your own mind, you'll be able to influence other people's minds so they can get what they want. The idea is to understand the problems that I'm about to mention, to become consciously aware of these and solve them on your own, so then you can help others become consciously aware and solve the problems as well. It's actually really easy, so let's go ahead and get right into it, because by the end of this audio, you'll know exactly how to start leading yourself, which means that you can lead others with ease. We want to do things in an easy way. So a lot of people, they're not leading themselves, because one of the biggest problems that I've seen in leadership, people have said this to me. This is why I'm bringing these things up. The real leadership problem is you can't lead yourself, other people, whoever, if you don't know who you are. So there's a lot of invisible problems that are holding people and teams back. So if you don't know who you are, then how can you expect to lead yourself? Now, what do I mean by who you are? Do you know what it is that you like? Do you know what it is that you dislike? Do you know your beliefs? Do you know your values? Do you know what motivates you? It's pretty interesting. Most people would say, yeah, I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. Yet, do you know what beliefs that you need to work on? Do you know what negative emotions that are in your unconscious mind that have been repressed for all those years and you haven't let go of? Do you know what would happen if you released those emotions? So the easiest thing to do is to figure out what beliefs are holding you back, what emotions are holding you back, and what is important to you. Because if you know what's truly important to you, you'll start to get motivated. And anything that's holding you back from that motivation is usually some type of fear. So I just helped someone not too long ago. They had some really wonderful goals. However, instead of going towards their goal, they were going away from it. So they were actually focused on the consequences. And when we got rid of some fear, they started to easily see that, look, my reality can change automatically and naturally. So that's the first thing. People don't really know who they are. So if you can find out who you are, you're going to be able to lead yourself and then find this out in other people and lead them as well. The second one is there's not a clear vision. So you don't have a clear vision of what you want, or you're not focusing on what you want. So how much time throughout the day do you spend focusing on what you want? Or do you find your mind wandering to certain things that you don't want? I mean, how do you feel when you wake up? When you wake up, are you focusing on what you want or what you don't want? Because that's a really good way to measure your mind. What percentage are you focusing on what you want? And if it's not 100%, then you have work to do. Because every time you're not focusing on what you want, you haven't done that effort, you haven't put that effort in your mind. And the effort that you haven't put in your mind, that means you're going to have to put more effort in the physical. So have you ever been around people that say, I have to hustle, I have to grind, I have to work hard, I'm so busy, sorry I can't do that, I'm busy, oh I'm busier than yesterday, oh my gosh I'm even more busy. Chances are these people are staying busy for 2 reasons. They don't know what they want, and they probably don't know who they are, or they have problems that they're either aware of or not aware of, and they don't want to get rid of. So instead of seeking help and getting rid of their problems, they stay busy. It's really, really interesting. Maybe this has happened to you, or maybe you know someone who did this. Throughout their life, they say, oh, I'm busy, and you know that they have problems to solve, or you know that you have problems to solve. I know I've done this. You make up different excuses of why you're busy instead of facing the reality and focusing on what you want. So that's really, really interesting, isn't it? And the third one, people haven't considered new ways to do things. So I've worked with a lot of clients and they say, how am I going to get this? Does it really matter how much you know about the how? Or is it better to focus on what you want, know who you are? And then once you know that you want, chances are you haven't gotten it because you're trying the same ways to get it and those aren't working. So you have a lack of consideration. You need to think of new ways to get the goal. Maybe you know someone who's done it. Maybe there's some resources that you haven't used. You haven't used a certain amount of money, time, or energy. Or you can ask yourself some different questions, and this will gather data from the unconscious mind. And your unconscious mind, when you connect to it, the reason this works is because your unconscious mind already knows how, because your unconscious mind is way smarter than you think. So let's say you're trying to achieve a new goal in your business. If I were to give you $1 million that you could spend in the next 30 days, how would you get to that goal? What would you spend it on? Now, maybe some of you are listening and you're thinking, well, that's kind of ridiculous to just give me $1 million. The idea is not to say whether or not you have that $1 million to spend. It's to get your mind thinking of new ways. Or you could say, what if I had no money? How would I grow my business? What would I do? Maybe you have to network with certain people. What is something free that you could do to grow your business? Or let's say you're in a relationship. How would you spend $1 million to improve your relationship? Or how would you spend no money at all in the next 30 days to improve your relationship? So the lack of consideration, this is not allowing you to lead yourself or lead other people. Because if you're focusing on what you want, and you know who you are, and you're considering new things, don't you think that you would probably have what you desire? I think you would. And I know that you would now that you're listening to this. So those are 3 of them. The 4th thing is you need to resolve the mirror. What does this mean? Your reality around you, it mirrors your inner thoughts, emotions, suggestions, and your focus. So whatever you're focusing on, if you notice that people are acting a certain way around you and you're getting negative emotions about it, chances are this is a projection. So if you're projecting this out into your reality, you need to resolve that mirror. You need to kind of take an inventory and notice, what is something that I need to resolve? I keep getting upset at this person. This keeps happening to me. Have you ever been around someone and they say that? Oh, this happened to me again. I can't believe it. What is it that they're not committing to? What is it that they're not deciding or giving themselves permission for? Why are they seeing people around them have limitations or negative emotions? Maybe you have that inside of yourself. So if you can resolve the mirror, mostly what you have to do here is resolve the negative emotions and limiting beliefs that are getting in your way. So if there's, let's say, a fear that you have, let's take fear. This is how you do it. When did you decide to create this fear? Ask your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind, it's going to give you some sort of time during your life that you created this fear. Then you ask yourself, what can I learn from this to resolve it completely right now? And make these positive learnings. This will start to flip your mind. Then you can ask yourself, what do I want to feel instead? What do I want to do instead? And this will really flip your mind and your focus. And when you flip your focus, that means that you have a whole new reality. Doesn't mean that the event is gone. It just means that you created new meaning. So if you want to lead yourself, you need to focus on these 4 things. And if you need help resolving any of these things or becoming more focused so you can create your reality, your ideal future, predictable results, all my information will be in the description of this audio. Definitely share this with someone who will benefit. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like the audio and subscribe to the channel and comment below. What's something that you can do in a new way, or what's something that you want to focus on? This will help us create a community of people that want to create their ideal future and predictable results. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you on the next video or the next audio.